Live in Nashville, Tennessee. You are listening to the Nashville Daily Podcast. Nashville's #1 daily podcast. Brought to you by Think Nashville. Think Nashville. Think Brad. Think Brad. It's Nashville Daily Podcast.
Good morning, Nashville. Today is going to be a really fun interview. We have Brandon Styll with Nashville Restaurant Radio. He is jamming out to the song. We also have Aaron Moses, or Moses, joining us in the studio. But before we get into this interview, we need to talk about our sponsor, thinkbrad.com. If you're looking for real estate here in Middle Tennessee, you need to visit thinkbrad.com. And Moses is drinking from the mug. He's about to sip from the Think Brad mug. You can call Brad Reynolds at 615-856-3270 and visit his website, thinkbrad.com. All right, we're just going to get into it. So Moses, you guys know who he is. He is a.k.a. formerly Greg the Google Guy.
That was me.
That was him. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to head over to our YouTube channel, explore.nash, and watch the Nashville trivia video, which is so much fun. The loser ate the hottest hot chicken from Party Foul, and it was amazing. You hosted that video. And then also joining me in studio is Brandon Styll, and you host your own podcast, and this podcast is called Nashville Restaurant Radio. What made you get into the podcast world?
Wow, that's a long question. I think it was, first of all, hello, everybody out there listening. Excited to have you here.
You have such like a good radio voice.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I heard that a lot. I used to drive Uber sometimes. People go, "Are you on the radio?" And I would go, well, I could be. And maybe that's what started in my brain. And when I was 20 years old, I used to work at Amerigo in Cool Springs. Mm-hmm. And I went to MTSU, and I would drive back and forth. And like Sunday nights, I was like, man, it would be really cool if there was like a radio show where servers would call in and tell their stories from the night. Because after you get off work, you go drink with whoever, and you would tell these stories. So I always had this idea that
of like how people not tipping and
whatever, but like just a way for the people in the industry to feel seen. Mm-hmm. Just a way for, if I was driving from Nashville to Murfreesboro, if I could listen to a call-in show where people were calling in going, let me tell you about this table I had. But the guests who would listen to that would be like, oh, that was me. I need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Because there's not really an etiquette out there. Yeah. Like we all kind of know in general, but really if you're a server or you're in the community, there's so much etiquette that people just don't follow. And so when the pandemic began, I'd already had this idea for Nashville Restaurant Radio. I'd already bought the equipment. I had already got the logo. I had the name. I was ready to go. I just didn't know when I was going to start it. And then kind of everything closed. It was a Tuesday night, and there was no hockey game on. And then they closed March Madness, and they closed everything else. And I had a conversation with somebody in marketing, and all these restaurants were putting out there on social media that,
hey,
we wash our hands. We're clean. Please come eat with us. And this marketing guy goes, do you think this is the best idea? This is the best idea to be putting out there on social media that you need to come eat here. What if this thing is deadly, and by you doing that, a bunch of people come to your restaurant as a result of that, and they all die? Like, what if it's a super spreader kind of event? Do you think it's the best thing to put that out on social media? And I thought that was a really interesting conversation. So I went up to my wife, said, I'm going to go make a podcast. And I went upstairs in my bonus room, pulled out my little microphone, hit record, and I just started talking. It was like a 17-minute episode. And
I think I remember seeing it on Instagram, and I ended up watching that first episode.
It was just
way back in the day.
Yeah, really. Yeah. March 14th, 2020 was my first episode. Okay. So I've done 300 episodes since then.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're a little bit ahead of you guys.
Man.
We're at episode 1013.
Well, you guys do it every day.
That's true.
My goal is to do one a week, and I was doing 4 a week when I first started.
Okay.
I put it on Facebook that night.
Still 300 episodes in, like, you're getting to the statistical level that most podcasts don't get to.
No, I mean, it's incredible the support that I've had through sponsorships, as well as just the community rallying around what we're doing. And really the podcast has morphed like 9 times throughout the beginning of it. We've really wanted to, it began as how do we share stories in the industry while we're going through a pandemic. And now I look back 3 years ago, and I'm almost to my 3-year anniversary, and you look at it and you go, man, I have a detailed chronicle. If you go back on the channel, you can listen to chefs in the middle of the pandemic talking about what they're going to do.
And
they're
the fears
scared.
That they have.
Yeah, I mean, and it progresses throughout. I mean, there was a good 6-month span where I started the interview and I said, how are you doing? If you were on the show, I'd say, Stuart, how are you doing today? And I don't mean that as like a greeting. I mean, like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on, man? And that was the state of our life for like a year. Like nobody knew what anybody was doing, how you're doing. And I was able to capture that in these stories. And you can go back today and listen to all these chefs right in the middle of it. And it's nice to never forget like where you were, because every day we're moving forward, but it's nice to go back and go, wow, we were all really, I feel like we were able to identify what true leadership was.
Yeah.
Because I've said this 100 times on my show, there's not a Patrick Lencioni book about how to lead throughout a pandemic. And there will be leadership books written on that. But the people who really excelled during the pandemic are the people who are true leaders. They're the people who embraced it, grabbed it, and said, we're going to change. We're going to evolve. We're going to do some amazing things throughout this. I said, I think it's kind of like you're a butterfly. Like we're all caterpillars going into this chrysalis during the pandemic. We're all locked inside of our house. Are you going to come out a swallowtail butterfly? Or are you going to come out a moth?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do during this time? We always say, I don't have time to do that. Well, now you have time. What are you going to do with it? And it's been interesting to see the results of that.
We came out with a video recently of Explore.Nash, and it was on one of my favorite restaurants in Nashville, The Chef and I.
Yeah.
So we had Erica and Chris, and I believe they've been on your show.
Erica's been on the show.
Yeah. We filmed this About Us for their website, this little video, and we're sitting down in their new restaurant in that little like Godfather booth thing. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
And I asked them a question about the pandemic, and it was just such an emotional experience from my perspective. And I don't know if that video has been released or anything yet, but like that was just an impactful moment. And now you having those archives is an incredible thing where these chefs can say, hey, I was able to survive, but these are the moments of frustration and fear. That's incredible.
How many of those chefs would you say that you had on during the pandemic are still doing what they're doing today?
Most of them.
That's amazing.
And
Wow.
most of them somewhere or another. I mean, the greatest thing that's come out of this, there's two things. One is I'm also the director of operations for both the Greenhouse Grill and Maribel restaurants.
Yep.
So I was able to, it's kind of unfair because I was able to cull all of this amazing information that I was gathering from these people and directly implement a lot of things in what I'm doing. And some of it was intrinsical. I just did these things, but a lot of it was, hey, that's a great idea. I'm going to use that. And we all wanted to share these ideas. And your question was how many people are still doing it? I mean, most of them, the friendships that I've been able to build. I mean, I don't think I would have ever met you guys without having my podcast. I mean, how many people, when you do an interview, when you sit down with somebody for an hour, and you're in a setting like we're in right now. I have a studio in Hillsborough Village where you're in a quiet room that's soundproof and you're looking someone in the eye and you've got headphones on and a mic. Like you can absolutely get into a conversation. It's so deep and so personal. Like you get done, it's almost like, oh, like it is absolutely emotionally exhausting, but it's this special connection that you get to have with people when you do an hour-long interview, and people get deep and they get past kind of the PR speak. And that's probably the most special thing to me, is that these people I didn't really know or people I didn't know, you sit down with them for an hour and you finish it and you're like, man, I feel like we're really good friends now. Like I feel like we've really had a moment there and it's really fun. Like it's the network of people that I've been able to bring together and talk to is probably one of the most special things also. I mean, just a lot of positives.
What's a long-term goal for Nashville Restaurant Radio?
I mean, I have so many. I mean, there's every day there's different things that come about that the potential to do. I mean, I would love to do live shows at events. I'd love to expand to other cities.
I think we need to collaborate on some of that stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, you guys have all the equipment. You guys are great. I mean, I'm not a, this isn't my gig. I'm a restaurant guy.
Yeah. You're a restaurant guy and we're a media company.
Yes. I mean, I'm a restaurant guy and, I'm learning how to do all that and it's fascinating and I love it. I just love connection. I love connecting with people and sharing whatever brilliance they have with the rest of the communities. In the restaurant world, we live in those four walls.
Yep.
You know, if I'm an independently owned and operated chef operator,
you're there 15 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there all the time, and I live. If I'm in East Nashville, I know what's happening in East Nashville. I know what's happening in my four walls, and then maybe I go to Three Crow or I go to different bars, and I see other people. And we kind of chat, but really, my world is right there. So I wanted to share what's happening in West End versus the Nations versus Brentwood, Franklin, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, like what's happening around Middle Tennessee. So if I'm a chef who's in this four walls, I can share a lot of that information.
What with the longevity of potentially expanding to other cities and whatnot, what would be the next like dream city to start?
Probably Louisville.
Louisville. Okay.
I mean,
what's the reason for that?
It's close enough, and it's so close to the Bourbon Trail.
Yes.
And bourbon is one of those things that I don't drink, but I'm one of those people that I understand the culture around. I think it's fascinating.
The Bourbon Trail just had the highest visitation in 2022. Year over match.
Yeah.
I think the numbers were like 2.7 million people.
Wow. Yeah, that's
visited
a lot.
the Bourbon Trail. And Tennessee now has the new Tennessee Whiskey Trail. That's relative. It's like 4 or 5 years old. And then we have the new Ale Trail. So this is just like craft beer throughout Tennessee. And then we have the Wine Trail of Tennessee, which nobody knows about. That's still relatively.
That's the only one I did know about.
Yeah, is the Bourbon Trail.
The Wine Trail.
Yeah.
That's the only one because I used to go to Arrington a lot, and they kind of there was all these little.
Have you been to like Horseshoe Bend Farms?
No.
They do this delicious tomato wine. Like it's incredible. It's like fresh grown tomatoes, and like they make it into a wine. And anything like over like a pasta or like a pizza, it blends so perfectly. They also do like a pumpkin wine that's seasonal.
Wow.
I think I need to connect you guys from the restaurant. Because
No, I'd love to talk to them, or for the restaurant even.
Yeah, you guys would be able to pair things with the steaks and meats that you guys make with their wines. It's fantastic. It's out towards Centerville, Tennessee.
Okay.
So you have 2 wineries out there. You have Grinder Switch, and then you have Horseshoe Bend Farms. They also have a blueberry picking farm. So on the property,
Really?
yeah. So you can go pick fresh blueberries as a family-friendly activity, or for restaurants, and use those blueberries for like a blueberry cobbler or anything. So
Whatever.
It's fantastic.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So so Louisville, what's like a really key restaurant in Louisville that you would like to start focusing on?
It's not that. It's a culture.
Okay.
It's a culture of the city. I think that it's close enough proximity to Nashville, and we have a title sponsor for the podcast, and it's Gordon Food Service, and they're based out of Shepherdsville.
Okay.
So I mean, them kind of partnering with us going into Louisville just seems like a really good match. The scene in Louisville is fantastic, and then the culture in Louisville is fantastic. All around Derby and just the big events that they do. They've got that 4th Street Live downtown.
Yep.
And then you're so close to Bourbon Trail. I just imagine if I did a Louisville restaurant radio,
Yeah.
I could bring in master distillers. Plus,
Oh,
there's so much to
Yeah.
talk about what's going on there, and the proximity really is there. I think you do Charlotte, Louisville, Atlanta. I mean, you start working in closer satellites than we have here in Nashville. And it's just there's a format to it. But I mean, like I said, I have 2 restaurants that are my number one priority that take up a lot of my time. And it really just isn't. We have a 3rd on the way.
You're not going to be the host of all of these restaurants.
No, I would find people to do it, but I have to find the time, and maybe another couple years down the line. I mean, this is something that the Nashville Restaurant Radio podcast is really a labor of love.
Yeah.
It's something that it's a love note to the industry, really, that I do, that I'm fortunate enough to have sponsors, but it's really just a passion project. I have a co-host on the show. Her name's Caroline Galzin, and she is the owner over at Nikki's Coal Fired in the
that's
Nations.
awesome. Yeah.
She's an amazing individual, and I love having her in the studio. She adds so much to the show, and it's just a real, I don't know, it's like I said, it's a passion, and it's a lot of fun, and it's something that I like to do for a long time. And if I could figure out a way to expand it and find other cities, I own all the URLs. I mean, if it's just a way
You're in
to,
a good position then.
if it was a way to do it,
URLs, they can get really
I've got them all over the whole country.
Yeah.
So
Now,
That
did
probably
you,
took- that probably took
hefty
you 5
GoDaddy bill
hours.
every year.
Yeah.
But
did you say you have a 3rd restaurant on the way that you're going to be director of operations for?
yes, I do.
Are you able to talk about that, or do we need to
As a
keep
matter
it
of fact,
hush-hush?
I'm not.
Okay.
We'll make an
keep it
announcement
hush-hush.
soon.
Yeah.
We did buy another restaurant, and we are looking to open the
Congrats,
first
man.
week of June.
That's a great week to open, especially CMA Fest coming in right afterwards.
Well,
Can you give us
wanna
the
open-
neighborhood?
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it tight-lipped. I will tell you that
right.
it's gonna be a in the vein of Green Hills Grill.
Okay.
But it's going to be a cantina. We're going to do a cantina.
Is that why?
Fresh.
Cantina Laredo's coming back. Figured it out, folks.
There it
Figured out.
is. It's not that. No, we're going to do a fresh cantina, and it's going to be, everything's from scratch, but it's going to be hyper local, hyper
Yeah, that's awesome.
community driven. That's really both of our restaurants. That's what we
yeah.
do.
Yeah, that's
Can
awesome.
we get some like bison tacos up in here?
bison?
Yeah.
No,
Have you ever?
that won't be on the menu. But you know what? This doesn't mean we can't try it.
Yeah.
He said
We
no.
can certainly try it. It won't be on the menu.
No.
The thing is like bison's not really served in this area. There's not many people that serve bison.
No, bison's delicious. I love bison. Very lean.
Fantastic. I'm about to get a half cow of a Texas Longhorn.
Wow.
And I'm really excited for it.
Hell yeah.
It's a way different experience than just regular beef. And I don't think I've ever had Longhorn, but bison's such a really interesting meat. And then a meat that's never served in Nashville and I always look for is moose. And I know that's really hard to get. But
Never had moose.
I've never had moose either.
I've had elk.
I bet you what chef
That's the
one
chef
can
and
get
I.
it.
Yeah, the elk is fantastic.
Yeah.
Elk is fantastic. The chef and I does one of the best ducks in the city of Nashville. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if you've had their duck. They on Saturdays, Friday, Saturdays, and
I've
Sundays.
never eaten there.
Oh, you need to
Oh,
eat at
man.
the chef and I.
Yeah,
I know,
it's
right?
fantastic.
The cocktails are fantastic. They do on Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. They do a duck and waffles combination with like this blueberry maple syrup over it. It is a chef's kiss. And then they just started doing blowfish tail, and they do their
Blowfish tail.
Yep, because blowfish is a really hard thing to work with.
I can imagine.
But they're starting to potentially implement like kangaroo and all of like these more exotic meats. I'm super excited.
Did you just say kangaroo?
Yes, sir.
They're doing kangaroo. Next, they're going to do kitten, and then they're going to do
So I've had
the cutest
Fox.
animals you can find. Like there's.
I've had some unique meats. So in Ireland, in Italy, I've had the donkey and horse. Mm-hmm. And then in Ireland, I'm pretty sure I was eating dog, but I'm not exactly sure.
What did it taste like?
It was a weird
Tastes
purple
like chicken.
meat.
Purple meat?
Yeah, it was like a purple meat. And I know there's certain meats in like Asian cultures where they dye the meats with like a jam type thing. It was good.
Ain't gonna
Is there
lie.
any meat you
that
wouldn't
dog
eat?
was good.
I would eat almost all meat.
Yeah, I mean, is there? I'll eat anything once.
I really want to try. I know a lot of people don't do this, and it's probably going to offend some people, but I've heard giraffe can be really good.
Lion, cheetah, leopard,
I will try it.
elephant.
I'll try it. Yeah, I'll try
Did you say giraffe?
giraffe. Yeah.
I'm not doing giraffe.
The
No way.
Yeah, I don't think we should be killing giraffes for that.
No.
Me. I'm a fan of not killing like these species that need to be
Yeah.
protected.
Oh yeah, I agree too. But I've just heard.
Now, Stuart is saying if they die naturally. If they die naturally,
Sure.
Stuart will
and
eat
it's harvested and butchered. Then yeah, if
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in Africa, maybe.
because we don't want to waste it.
we need to do a food tour of meat. Have you had like cow brain or like cow tongue?
I've had cow tongue.
I've had tongue, never
enjoy
brain. I've had the brain.
Cow tongue.
Yeah.
So the brain is more like it's more of like a sponge flavor. So it's like you were talking about earlier,
Like a yellow
squid.
sponge?
Yeah.
No, not like yellow sponge,
Like
but
texture, not
like,
flavor?
Yeah, texture.
Texture?
Gotcha.
But like I've had cow brain tacos on Nolensville Pike, and those things have been fantastic. And I was talking to somebody recently, and they were in some Latin American country, and they literally just brought out an entire brain. And I think it was lamb.
That reminds me
lamb
of
brain.
was it Indiana Jones?
With
Was
the
it
hearts?
the Temple of Doom
Yeah.
where they were eating the brain?
Yeah.
Is that the one? I don't remember.
You know, these things are all amazing. I'm gonna get back to me.
And transitioning.
No, one of our things we like to serve is the Green Hills Grill, right? I mean, what we do, we're not risk takers on that. When we serve the community, we really want to serve food. We want to serve good food people like to eat.
And consistently eat.
Yeah. So I mean, you serve cow brain, you might sell a couple of them, but it's memorable.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I had that there. But
Yeah.
then I think the perception of that place is they have weird, funky food. We were talking about Peninsula. Peninsula has crazy food but there's only like 12 seats in that restaurant.
Yep.
They have 243.
Yep.
That stay full all the time because we offer smoked chicken enchiladas and we have fish tacos
It's
and
what
things.
it's what people are comfortable
It's
with.
really high quality ingredients. We don't take we buy the best ingredients we possibly can. We don't skimp on any of that. Freshest fish, freshest chicken meat, everything that we can possibly
How do you source the fish there at Green Hills Grill?
We buy from a couple different companies, but we buy from Off the Dock, which is bringing in fish daily.
That's awesome.
I mean, we just buy it
That's what
daily.
I was wondering.
I mean, salmon.
Are they the ones that do the fly in the fish? Like
No, that's the Honolulu Fish Company. I mean, there's different companies. They all have their methods. We're a landlocked state. I'm not going to the docks every morning. I mean, what you have to do is you have to find the company that does it. We use Off the Dock. They do a great job, and they send you a list of what's fresh and what they've got, and then you order it, and it comes in the next day, and it works. But we don't, we buy a lot of mahi, we buy a lot of grouper, we do a lot of halibut,
grouper, man.
we do a massive amount of salmon. People love salmon. We do a really good salmon dish. We have a plum salmon at Maribel. We do a dish called salmon and corn cakes. It's these little 4-ounce salmon fillets over a jalapeno corn cake with fried Brussels sprouts, like crispy Brussels sprouts.
That sounds awesome.
We drizzle the Brussels sprouts with a jalapeno infused honey.
Yes, please.
There's like a mustard crema on top of the salmon, and it just works. It's not like cow brain. It's the easiest dish in the world to make, but it's really, really good. Yeah. And people love that. And that's what the people in our community want to eat. And so that's what we're doing. And we follow the seasons. I have a seasonal menu at Maribel. At Green Hills Grill, we do a monthly specials, we're bringing stuff back every month. The next month we'll start doing our watermelon and crab salad.
Like a cycle.
Yeah, when things come in season, and when strawberries are there, we'll do strawberry shortcake, and it's stuff that it's comfort food that everybody loves at a very high level. That's what the new restaurant's going to be. It's going to be made for the community around us. We don't advertise to people who are coming to Nashville. We advertise to people that live within 3 miles of us.
Now, I've never had Maribel.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been there. I've been to Green Hills Grill, but tell me a little bit about Maribel.
I thought you'd never ask.
Let's go.
Maribel it's Merebulles. The pronunciation it literally translates to mother bubbles in French.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it's pronounced Mebu in French. So it's
say that one more time.
Mebu.
Mebu.
If you're French, you say it's Mebu. But we call it Maribel. So the S is actually silent when you say it. So it's not like it's a person named Maribel and it's their restaurant. It's not Maribel's
When you
restaurant.
say that, I think of Encanto, because I have daughters.
Yeah. Love that movie.
Mirabelle?
Well, it's...
Is that the main character?
I don't know.
When you first said the name of the restaurant,
Maribel.
I thought
There you go. That makes sense. So Maribel was in Maryland Farms.
Yep.
There is a house. A guy named Truman Ward built this house in 1942, which is in the middle of World War II. So he bought 300 acres of land, and there's other houses on the property that he had to tear down, and took the materials and brought it to the spot where this house is.
Wow.
And built that, because you couldn't buy building materials. You're in the middle of a war. There's rations. So he bought these other homes, tore them down to build this house.
Wow.
So this house is a 7,500 square foot mansion, and it is right in the middle of Maryland Farms. It was
the center point.
Truman and Mary Ward were the people that owned the home. So Maryland Farms, it was a horse farm. So they raised thoroughbreds to race. So the house was literally built for his wife. This is the Maryland Manor is the name of the home. And they raised horses there. So it wasn't like a plantation, or there was there was no slaves or anything there. The people that worked on the farm, but they lived in the house. I mean, it was a whole thing. And so we've had the house now, I think, for 20 years.
Wow.
I think Stephen has owned it. Stephen Smithing is the owner, him and his wife, Jolene. And it's just an amazing restaurant. We do a ton of events. So the name of the restaurant is actually Maribel's Restaurant and Events. So every Friday, every Saturday night, there's rehearsal dinners, there's wedding receptions. We do 50th birthday parties, 60th birthday parties, 50th wedding anniversaries.
Aesthetically,
bridal luncheons.
Aesthetically, I love the place. Coming in, it's like that vintage home feel within a restaurant. Like aesthetically, it's fantastic.
We have an executive chef. His name is Julius Gilbert, and he follows the seasons. We have a seasonal menu every single season. He sources the most local products. We follow Hal Holden Bache's kind of. Yep. I'm going to find the best product that is growing right now in season, and we're going to utilize that to the best of our ability when it happens. So a lot of people, the memories people have of Maribel is steak and potatoes, right? Filet, mashed potatoes, and green beans was our number one selling dish for 10 years. People are like, steak and potatoes is good. Well, now I'm doing short rib, and now we have a pork chop, and now we have, last night for Valentine's Day, we did venison. We are doing some really great chef-driven food. And we talked about the pandemic, what we did during the pandemic. We closed the restaurant from late March until June in 2020.
Okay.
In 2020. And so we have all these ideas as to how we want to incorporate new things to the restaurant. So one of the things we did was we completely redid our back patio.
Okay.
The back patio was like this red tile, and it was just kind of this overgrown landscaping, and people sat out there, and it was fine. But since we had the time, we completely took up all the red tile. We put a new stone ground out there. We took out all the landscaping. We put a big magnolia mural out there. We have all new lounge chairs. There's a fire pit. We covered it. We put a pergola outside, which is all electrically ran. We've got heaters. I've got fans. and the pergola opens and closes.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
So you can sit outside. So now there's like a beautiful, we call it the Magnolia patio. And then there's 2 rooms right behind the host stand that was the curtain room and Truman's room. Every room has a name. And so we took the tables really out of those, and we built custom furniture. And now we've built a lounge.
That's awesome.
So one of the things that the people in the community have said is that we hate going downtown. We want an elevated experience where we can come in and just have a cocktail, and we want to do it in a really nice setting at our own locally owned and operated restaurant. So that's what we really doubled down on. So now we have the Magnolia Lounge and the Magnolia Patio. First spring, we're going to be able to utilize it. Right now,
so this is really new.
This is brand new. It is happening. We have a Magnolia Lounge Instagram page. It's _Magnolia_Lounge. And you can see every day, Monday through Thursday, we do free snacks in the lounge.
Oh, that's great.
So you can come in there, we do pate or beef Wellington or just crudité veg or, something that's just, I wanted people to be able to come in, hang out in like an exclusive lounge area and have something to snack on while they were there. Not like food. Let me get full. I'm just something to snack on while I have a drink with my friends. Pull my laptop and finish my day.
When you say exclusive, so on Fridays and Saturdays, is this membership only?
It is not. Anybody. It's first come, first serve.
Okay.
In the private lounge. I mean, if you come in, you can hang out. There's there's like a love seat and there's 2 chairs and little coffee tables. There's 5 settings like that. Then I do have tables in the back room where you can sit and like eat dinner.
Okay.
But really, it's supposed to be a place where you can be done for the day. Hang out with your girlfriends, hang out with your guy friends. We have a top shelf bourbon menu, which I've been collecting bourbon for 2 years. So I have all the Pappies, all the Wellers, all the stuff.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I have, I think, 72 bottles, and I've got another 35 bottles down in my cellar. So every month, whatever we sell out of, so I don't have Weller all the time. I have the product, but at the beginning of the month, I replace all the empty bottles. So right above the bar, there's this huge, all of the bourbons are there. So throughout the month, all of them that get drank through, there's just an empty spot. At the beginning of the month, I go down and choose which bourbons from the collection come up. So every month on the 1st, I'm releasing 5 or 6 or 7 brand new allocated rare bourbons. So if you show up to me, and I sell everything by the ounce.
Okay.
Right, and I don't jack up the prices. It is just a straight percentage based on what I pay. So it's not it's Pappy, I'm going to charge $125.
So you're not making money on it.
I do a Pappy flight. You can get the 9-year, the 12-year, and the 15-year. A 1-ounce pour of each of those, I think it's $135.
I think that's worth it.
Yeah, but to do a flight of Pappy Van Winkle, first of all, you have to find a place that has it.
I've never heard of anyone else that does that. Like a full flight like that,
You're probably the only one.
I mean, our goal is for you to,
Louisville.
If you live close by, we want you to be able to come in and share. We do half-price wine all the time. People ask me all the time, they go, why do you, we do this at both restaurants, the Greenhouse Grill and Maribel. They go, why do you do half-price wine? I go, because we want you to enjoy a meal with your family. Like, I don't all I have to do is inventory. I order the stuff, I put it in a shelf, and then I pour it. Like, I don't need to charge you 3 times. I know it's a huge profit center, but I want you to be able to come eat dinner with your family and not go, well, dinner was good, but I spent $200 on wine. Like, so we do half-price wine all the time because we want you to be able to come in with your family and eat dinner and not break
more
the
than
bank on
once.
But that's
more than once.
That's I want you to come back. I mean, that's the thing. Is
that's
like wine,
the goal.
I don't have to prep it. It doesn't go bad. It's the easiest thing to sell, and so many people charge so much for it. And it's like, why? Because you're at a restaurant? We've kind of doubled down on the fact that we want you to be able to drink wine affordably while you're here because we feel like it is part of the experience and not leave there.
Pairing with the food.
Dude, my wife and I never do wine at restaurants because of that reason. It's like, okay, are we doubling? We're tripling and quadrupling our bill.
And that's not, for being community-driven restaurants, that's one of our core values is we love our community, right? So we love the people that come in and we love each other, people that work there. It's really very, very important that people can come and enjoy like the Pappy flights and all that stuff. I do that not so that we can make a bunch of money, but so that people can come in and they can say, man, we did that. Remember that day we came in and had the Pappy flight at Maribel? That was so much fun. Like, that's the experience we want you to have in this house that was built in 1942. That's
an awesome
the grand
story,
staircase and this really cool private lounge. Like, you don't have to. There's plenty of free parking. You can come in anytime. Like, it's not, oh, we got to go downtown. I got to pay downtown prices. I got to pay $40 to park.
Hustle and bustle. Yeah.
It's 2 minutes from my house. I can just swing over and have an elevated experience right there in Brentwood.
Which is
I'm
fantastic.
supporting a locally owned and operated restaurant.
Yep.
I mean, that's our goal. That's everything that we did. That was our pandemic pivot. That's the thing that we did to really double down on our community to make it a place that is safe for everybody to come, that they want to come, that's right down the street from their house.
That's fantastic.
You've sold me on Maribel.
Well, you should come check it out.
Emily, if you're listening to this, we're going to Maribel, babe.
Yeah, you definitely should check it out. With knowing all of the chefs in town, what are some of your favorite restaurants that you're not operating?
I will tell you, I had this conversation this morning. I think Bastion.
Yeah.
What Josh Habiger does, he is one of the most amazing people in the city. Him and his wife, Lauren, they do just, and if you can get a reservation there, I mean, that's just one of those places you got to go. I'm having dinner at the Continental tonight for the first time.
Oh, that's going to be exciting.
I want to give a plug because I know there's a couple tickets available. Eastside Banh Mi is probably my favorite restaurant in the city.
It's so good. We did a feature of that about a year and a half ago. And what's really interesting is I think Guy Fieri's team saw the video we did, and then they did a video for his show.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's really interesting when you start like figuring out where people found like restaurants in Nashville, and like with like the guy who does Barstool, the pizza one bite reviews.
Yeah.
Some of the pizza restaurants he went to in Nashville for his first video was definitely influenced because we talked about
Really?
them. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Caroline, my co-host, he came in there to Nikki's and he loved the pizza, so
That's fantastic.
she was excited about that.
Did he just do a review there?
He just walked in, ordered a pizza, and took the one bite challenge outside. Said it was delicious.
That's awesome.
So Nikki's Coal Fired, you should go check it out. But Gracie Nguyen, she's
Her
person.
her pho is
Her pho is amazing. Her bread is amazing. If you have never been to Eastside Banh Mi, best restaurant in the city. I mean, they're accomplished chefs doing sandwiches that are beyond.
Have you been, Moses?
Yeah, I work pretty regularly at a studio on Granada Avenue.
Yeah.
And it's right there on the corner of Gallatin and Granada. And so that's kind of our lunch spot. Either that or there's that Cuban place up the road now.
Soy Cubano.
Yeah.
Soy Cubano.
Fantastic.
It's
both of those have some of the best sandwiches in Nashville.
Yeah.
I think this is going to air on Thursday the 16th.
Yep.
And Gracie Nguyen and Ford Fry are doing a chef's takeover dinner at Star Rover.
Okay.
Star Rover Sound, Ford Fry's new place. And it's to benefit the Giving Kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
The Giving Kitchen is an amazing organization that helps restaurant workers that are in need if they've had accidents, they've, being diagnosed with cancer, and they need somebody to help pay their mortgage while they're going through treatments. Giving Kitchen steps in and helps them. So the event tomorrow night is tonight, if today is Thursday. So it is tonight. And I think there's still a couple tickets left. I'm going to be there with my wife, and I'm taking Stephen and Jolene, who own the restaurants. And if you go to, I think, starroversound.com, you can pick up tickets. I think they have a few more tickets left. I'd love for that thing to sell out because
that'd be awesome.
Gracie's amazing. Ford Fry, obviously, is amazing. And they're doing a special curated dinner. And the dinner comes with drinks. I think it's $150 a person.
That's not bad at all.
It's not crazy, especially for a fun night out. But I wanted to give them a plug on there because I know they're not quite sold out. And I would love to support the Giving Kitchen.
Yep.
Jen Heidinger-Kendrick is doing amazing things over there. And I just love to support them any way I can.
Brandon, the last question I have for you, because I think now that we've rechanged this format of having more interviews, we're going to have you on a lot.
You can do it monthly. Come on, it'd be fun.
The question I have in mind right now is, what's your favorite barbecue restaurant in Middle Tennessee?
I think that's a loaded question because they're all different.
Yes, they're all different.
I mean, you can't just...
What's your go-to? Have you been to BB's Barbecue in Franklin?
I have not.
Okay.
I think the go-to is, Whole Hog. Martin's is fantastic. Yep. Ribs, I think you got to go to Peg Leg Porker. Mm-hmm. And I love the sandwich over at Honey Fire in Bellevue.
The pulled pork one, or the Doc Holiday, the turkey, smoked turkey with like the Alabama sauce and
No, it's called the I'm having a brain fart right now. It is it's right on the tip of my tongue. They do two different kinds. They do Buffalo Jones, and the Diablo Jones.
The Diablo Jones is fantastic.
Diablo Jones is probably my favorite sandwich in the whole city.
Is that just a spicier version?
It's like a barbecue sandwich. They have like white cheese sauce, flash fried jalapenos,
Gotcha.
and it's just massive.
It's
just
really dirty too, like for my beard.
Yeah, I mean, like you need like a stack of napkins, and every time it comes out, it's like overflowing out of the bun. I mean, it's just like one of those.
Amazing.
You just see it and you go, I got to take a picture of this. If you look at my Instagram, like the stories, there's just every time I go there, it's like, yep, having the Diablo Jones again. That's a great one.
Have you had?
And of course, Shane Nasby. I love him.
Have you had the opportunity to check out Cletus, his new restaurant?
Absolutely.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I know Cletus Burgers. I like the breakfast one.
Yeah, the Breakfast Club.
Well, they've got one with egg in it, and then there's I mean, they're all. I went there one time, had them all of them.
Have you had the Skippy Taille?
Yes,
that's
with the peanut butter.
Yeah, we just had Shane on the podcast like a week and a half ago, and he's like, "Are you just like plugging this restaurant? Like, are you getting paid for this?" No, I just love his burgers.
Do you know what I love even more than his burgers?
His heart.
Him.
Yeah.
Him and his wife Angela. I mean, they're the most.
It's because he's a Hoosier.
I don't think that's it. Maybe it's what it is. He's just like the best guy ever. I mean, he's one of
he's an awesome human. He really is.
We did our first interview in 2020, and we got done with the interview, and he said, my family was calling me because I've never said all these things on a show before, like what I divulged, and I was like, are you okay with that? He's like, no, it's good. I'm happy to do it, but I got so many phone calls, but like, I didn't even know that about you, and I don't know. It just started a relationship, and I've been into Honey Fire several times, but like, he's just one of those people. He's salt of the earth, helping out the homeless community with what he's doing over at Cletus. And then his food is fantastic. Yep. But better than his food is him as a person.
The truffle fries are so good.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
A cool vibe over there, too. I love the outdoor patio. I can't wait for spring to come around and do some live music out there.
The beer garden is
fantastic over there. If you haven't been to Cletus, it's right off of old Elm Hill Pike, where the various artists brewing used to be.
Did you know that this used to be called Chicken Pike? Back in the day, in the 1800s, Elm Hill Pike was Chicken Pike.
Did you know the original Nashville settlement was on Elm Hill Pike right down the street here?
One of them, yes. So there was a fort over here. The primary fort was on the French Lick in downtown Nashville.
Oh, I was thinking, because right down here, there's like a little bridge, and there's a cemetery right behind it.
So there's a bridge, and then there's also, if you keep going down this street, there's Buchanan's house down the way.
Okay.
But there was a huge fort that was in this general area.
We're on Elm Hill Pike, if you guys are wondering where we're at.
That's exactly where we are.
We're on Elm Hill Pike. We're like 4 seconds from this. I used to be the sales manager down at Fresh Point, which is the big building right next to my office. Looked at that cemetery, and one day I walked over there, and I was like,
"This is cool.
Who's buried here?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at this! This is amazing!" I'm right. The original settlement of Nashville was like right here, and apparently there's more than one.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on to the show. Where could people listen to Nashville Restaurant Radio?
I have a website at Nashville Restaurant. Hold on, let me get my radio voice. NashvilleRestaurantRadio.com. Or you can follow Instagram, Nashville_restaurant_radio. I am at Brandon_NRR. And
talk about the 2 restaurants real quick before that intro music.
Maribulls.com, MEREBULLES.com,
Faster.
and GreenHillsGrill.com. Go check them out.
Thank you for listening to the Nashville Daily Podcast. If you want to learn more, head to NashvilleDailyPodcast.com.
You can also follow us on social media at explore.nash on Instagram, Nashville Daily Podcast on YouTube, and explore.nash on YouTube as well.
The Nashville Daily Podcast is an Explore LLC production, copyright 2023.